So that's been really fun, involving a lot of like various video editing things, which kind of reminds me, I've yet to tell this story. And I mean, it's under the category as people's dirty laundry, which honestly should never be wrung out online. But dang it, it's like so hilarious to me. I just have to share it, even if it is, going to essentially ruin someone's reputation. And I even alluded to this person when I was playing Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Because essentially, by the time I started streaming online on Twitch, I had not touched any of my raw video game footage that I had been making offline. And so essentially, it would be handy, to have help. And so I kind of put some word out as far as, hey, it would be nice if I could like pick up a video editor to, do that part. Like take all of the raw footage and make some nice final YouTube cut versions of my video game footage. Somebody somewhere knew of a professional video editor, and so they sent me his contact info and whatnot, pointed me in that direction. And so I was thinking, all right, awesome, cool. So far, so good. And then, whilst I was playing Brilliant Diamond, I mentioned this super briefly, how I had a brief just text convo and didn't get a good vibe. Did not get a good vibe. And never said another word the rest of the playthrough. Well, eventually, because I mean, I've been busy. Once I started streaming, I actually started video editing myself. Every single video, learn something new, it's awesome. Every single clip I make, I try to learn one new thing, implement one new thing, improve one new thing. And so, I mean, eventually, with just a few months, honestly, or probably a year at the latest, like I could be a professional video editor too. I have two speeds when it comes to learning. If I like absolutely commit, I become like obsessive and I can learn something in an extremely short amount of time. So I mean, just as a few examples though, even like mathematics, a mathematical subject, analysis, statistics, programming, I can like invest and like basically become a master of it in an extremely short amount of time, a couple weeks, a month. Oh, origami was another one. And then I have kind of all of that, and then I can sit there and like ruminate over it and then incrementally improve after that. But just as a definite example though, I remember within, I believe, 2 weeks, I was folding this really beautiful horse origami that I was basically learning from a video on YouTube tutorial. Remember, how long have I been folding origami? 2 weeks? Okay, and I've kind of learned what I need to learn. And in one of the YouTube comments, somebody supposedly claimed, I've been folding origami for 4 years and I can't do this horse. I'm thinking to myself, is this a joke? Anyways, getting back to the subject here. My normal speed though, when it comes to learning, is exactly like RPGs. You don't sit down to a game like Let's Go Pikachu and beat it in 30 minutes. Granted, no glitch, no wrong warp, like actual intended strat like this, gaining experience, gaining levels, playing as intended, stuff like that, can't be done in like a 30-minute time window. You have to invest hours and hours of time to do so. And so therefore, I'm kind of used to that kind of incremental progress in all things in life. And so I don't have to learn every single thing right away, which is why I love, even when I was making my Super Mario World ROM hack, I would learn basically one thing and then make a level that implemented that. But then when it was time to make the next level, I would learn another thing and then implement that into the new level. Honestly, after a relatively short amount of time as well, you see rapid progress because it just stacks cumulatively. And I am absolutely confident, not to be mean, but guess what? Video editing is not rocket science. And even if it is, I could learn that too. Because, oh wait, I already have. Oh snap, shots fired. So that's kind of where I'm coming from when I go into this. So this guy who, because I'm so busy, eventually like texts me, he reaches out as far as, hey, I have no idea what you need, but I am like this big bad professional video editor, and like has to lay down all of his street cred and how amazing and awesome he is. And so was our brief encounter. I'm like, hey, I'm super busy for like several weeks. Like, let's go ahead and arrange maybe a call later in life to see. That way I can explain what my video editing needs are, and then we can like discuss possible terms if you're even interested, blah blah blah. That's even just via text. I'm like, didn't get a positive vibe there. So now that brings us to phase 2 of the story. Right on the dot, because I'm, actually, believe it or not, responsible. We had arranged a specific time because I was going to be busy this next week. He was going to be busy the week after that. He just kind of said the best days for him to talk would be on Saturday. So I'm like, okay, how about this specific Saturday? He agreed, right? He agreed to this on text. And so that day eventually comes. Saturday morning, I throw him a text. I'm like, all right, cool. Are you still free today? We can like go about figuring out like what would be a good time for me to call you. Do you want me to call you or you? Nothing. Several hours later, I get this text like, wait, what? Who is this? What is this for? What do we need to talk about? Like, and people, okay, so time out. People wonder why I always say that no matter what I do and no matter where I go, I'm surrounded by stupid people. Anyways, I kind of basically, shoot, let me just copy and paste the last text in this texting thread, and then that refreshed the memory of this person who thinks he's so smart and such a professional video editor. So then I'm thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't even call. But the time comes later that day, and we call. And so we were chatting, and here's the deal too, because guess what? Yes, I am a man. How do men communicate? The vast majority of men do not. I'm actually a good communicator, and so humble too. No, just kidding. I definitely see, like, when women complain about how men never communicate, like, I don't get offended because they don't communicate with me either, ladies. Except the difference is they have no use for me because I'm a man. And there's probably some level of douchebaggery going on anyways. Even though I am a good communicator, the thing is, sometimes when it comes to communication, men can be just direct. Do we really need to sit here for 10 minutes and belabor a point over and over again, or can we say it with a single sentence? Me, as a mathematician, I like succinctness, laconicity, brevity, short, sweet, to the point. Unfortunately, this telephone call, which lasted almost an hour, was no such thing. And not only that, in this very telephone call, he has to sit here and, was it complaining or was it bragging how busy he is? He's just so busy. He's so busy, he probably can't possibly get to any more work because he's just so busy making money, and he's like about ready to start his own business because he is so busy. And time out again. Okay, if you are so busy, then this conversation, which honest to God could have been over in about 7 to 8 minutes, and yet you sat there and blabbed for almost an hour. So there's kind of strike number 2 of irritation and annoyance by me. And then, okay, to fast forward, because I'll have to get to the actual conversation here in a bit, but not only that, after, and at the very beginning, I had it ready. I had a pencil, paper, and I even explained this. I'm like, hey, you can be as, it's the same thing. You know what irritates me is when you go to the doctor and they sit there and then they have to like spend an X amount of time with you, right? And so to offset that, they sit there and say the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, I got it, I can repeat it back after the first time. You don't need to say it. Oh, they're repeating it the second time. And then it's like, okay, I got it. I know all of the fancy schmancy words. I've got it. You've said it twice. You don't need to say it a third. Oh, they're saying it a third time. So annoying to me. So kind of the same vibe, but still, beginning of this conversation, I had a pencil, I had a paper, and I said, hey, don't you worry about talking fast. I can write fast. I will write down everything you say, and we can get this over with. And yet, as soon as we were done chatting, I get this lengthy text of just a summary of what we talked about. 1, blah, blah, blah. 2, blah, blah, blah. 3, blah, blah, blah. 4, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, did you or did you not hear me say I was writing this stuff down anyways? And honest to God, I probably didn't have to because my memory is pretty good. I could have listened to him blab repetitiously and tediously, I might add, for an hour without writing a single thing down, and then I would have been able to write out that summary easily. Like, this is no big deal. So anyways, I guess that was strike 3, but wait, there's more. I haven't even gotten to the conversation. So, I mean, okay, how in the world could somebody be so clueless, though? Because no matter how many times I explain this, and honestly, like, I don't understand why this is so difficult to comprehend. Because he wanted to know, like, what types of videos do you have? Like, what sort of video editing would you be in need of? And I kept explaining this exact thing. I've been explaining over and over again, I am streaming on Twitch, video games. It's video game gameplay. Does this all need to be in the final YouTube cut? No. In fact, this particular game, or RPGs in general, do any of the battles need to be in the final YouTube cut? Cut them all out, fast forward, like, have only the story mode even. I don't care, but editing is required, and obviously this is all one beautiful, complete thing, right? I mean, the video game footage is there, it's my live reaction, my face webcam right here is embedded in the video, they're not recorded separately, and this was like the most, he just doesn't understand the types of video, and he, like, there was this 15-minute digression of like various things I can do, and I'm like, well, okay, that doesn't exactly apply to my situation. Or then he's like, okay, well, then there's this. I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't exactly apply to this situation. I got the impression that that man simply speaks because he loves to hear himself talk, which is actually kind of ironic because here, I mean, isn't that kind of what I'm doing? I'm just talking on Twitch, but oh, hilarious. No joke though. My nieces and nephews can attest to this. In real life, I'm actually a really quiet guy. So, okay, once we established that he's just way too busy to like even, you know, talk to me or like deal with me or have business with me, and he's just like, you know, so professional. I wish I had long hair. So professional. Then he has the nerve to, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, what did I ever do to you? Like, I've been nice, I've been professional this entire time. Like, I'm not sitting here making fun of him during the telephone call, but he sits there and you know, explains to me how, like, you know, he is just so professional that he doesn't need me on his resume. Like, his resume is already so impressive and so full, like, he can get a job anywhere he wants, and, like, I mean, he doesn't need to add video game editor on his resume, because his resume is just like the most impressive piece of Declaration of Independence, Bible, Quran, like literary masterpiece that you could ever possibly imagine. I'm like, okay, you keep telling yourself that, buddy. So, and I mean, I even asked several times, because it's like, at some point I realized it's very unlikely that I will ever actually work with this dude. But still, out of respect for the conversation, I'm like, hey, you know, I mean, if he charged $2 an hour, I would have wrote it down. If he charges $2,000 an hour, I would have wrote it down. Obviously, the latter case, I would have been like, right, $2,000 an hour. But I would have wrote it down. And I asked, like, I kept asking, like, okay, well, like, dude, like, what do you charge? What are your rates? What are your terms? And he would never say. Never would actually say, but I guess since he is just, like, so professional, and I mean, like, he's been, like, being an expert for 5 years, and his resume, so big of resume, so important, such an awesome man. Like, I should probably be paying him to just listen to his voice on the telephone after explaining that, you know, he doesn't need me. I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I'd pay you. I finally, since he kept refusing to answer, like, how much do you charge, bro? Because, like, obviously I doubt I will hire you anyways. I presented him with a hypothetical. So I'm like, alright, well, I am, like, basically going to be streaming, let's call it 5 days a week. Approximately an hour every time I stream. So 5 hours a week, basically. Now, obviously, as a video editor, you would want to at least maintain that pace. Like, can you go through 5 hours of raw footage every week, and however many, I don't care, however many final YouTube cuts of that, they have to be done that week. That's at the bare minimum. Because think about this, I had 120 plus hours of raw footage that I have to go through and get uploaded onto YouTube. Alright, well, let's just say that in one raw video, and so he goes off on this, once again, very verbose tirade about how, well, like, you know, first he'd have to watch the whole thing, and I'm like, well, duh. So he would have to, like, watch this hour-long video and then like figure out, like, what needs to be done, like, and then he goes off on this tirade of, like, color levels and this and that and audio, and I'm thinking to myself, are we on the same page? Like, raw video game footage, right? Do you understand? Do you understand what that is? So in any event, I'm like, okay, well, how long do you think it would take you to get through, however much you have to shorten it is kind of redundant, how long would it take you to get through an hour-long video to the final cut? And that was another thing, because then he's like, well, then we'd have to, like, meet up and, like, review the final cut, and then if we have to, like, do retakes, and I'm like, I don't care. What if I never even see it, and I just trust your good judgment? How long would it take you? And he's like, probably, if I had nothing else on my plate, if I wasn't super busy, if I wasn't so high in demand, I'm just like, good Lord, answer the question. He finally answers the question. The simple one-word answer is all I want. 2 days. So I'm thinking to myself, I mean, at this point, once again, I'm still being nice, not being sarcastic, even though I have sarcastic skill, let me tell you what. I'm still being nice, but I really wanted to say at that point, so you think I would honest to God hire you who couldn't keep up with my video output, and I would have to basically hire 3 of you just to keep up with what I'm producing every day, not to mention the 120 plus hours of raw video game footage I already have. But I didn't say it. And I was just like, okay. I wrote it down, 2 days. It was so baffling though, and those are just a few things. Like, no need to dwell on more reasons why by the time I got done with that conversation, my eyes were like... So yes, there you have it, the dirty laundry story of the day. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, I was asking around, and somebody who lives in the same vicinity, another one of my friends in Montana, I'm like, so out of curiosity, do you know this guy? And my friend was like, yes. Why do you ask? Whenever I get hit with the, like, that guarded, why do you ask, right away, it's like, uh-oh. So I basically kind of explain it. But I was like, once again, super nice, super tactful. I'm just like, well, he got recommended to me as a video editor, and like, I mean, we texted a little bit, and then also we talked for a little bit, and I don't know, I was curious. And so my friend's like, well, yeah, just kind of, yeah. And so then I'm like being a little more honest. And so then I said, okay, well, I understand. Like, I didn't get a positive vibe either, so, but, so there you have it. Somebody else besides me who is like actually a reasonable, responsible, good citizen and civilian of the United States of America has the exact same opinion as I do with this person, that not the best person out there. I mean, here's the deal, like, it goes back to how do you deal with situations, negative situations, and I mean, sure, there are some specific situations that really get me, but I mean, most of the time, bad things that happen, I can see the humor in them. So this is a good example of a run-in that I definitely would not want to run into. And I mean, here's the hilarious thing. Can you imagine? What if I decide to hire this guy, right? What video do you think I would say, here, use this raw video and make me a YouTube video? This one, baby! Can you imagine? What are we up to? 42 minutes? 42-minute video of me complaining about how much he sucks. I mean, I should hire him just for that. Like, bro, I just have this one video I want you to edit of mine. I'm not gonna prepay that one. I will pay when the job is done.